Not sure what we've got for battery life for here, but round 2 for today. I'm just going to start this one. I haven't got all the bits for it. So we've just finished off the XC. Now we're going to move on to the PlanetX. It's like a pro carbon frame, but they're not. I think it's similar to the old pro carbon frame, but it's got internal routing for some of the stuff on it. It's their CX, their cross country one, if you like, cyclocross frame. It's a proper bike. It's not one of these bloody gravel things. It's got decent clearance. It's got decent tyres on. I rather like these because they do hark back to the cyclocross, and I'm not a big fan of all these different types of bike that they're bringing out. This thing has absolutely been ridden to death. They've got the money's worth out of it. I might have done a quickie earlier, but you know it's bad when the idea is you put this chain measuring device in, and it's supposed to rest on the front of the chain, and when it goes through, it means the chain's stretched. I've never had one yet. So you hook these things into the back of the wheel at the back, and the idea is that it catches on that one at the front there. I have never had a chain that is so worn that I have to actually roll it forwards to make it reach in. It's so worn. It's probably a good 3 to 4 mil stretched, and I don't know if you can see that. You can actually roll the rollers backwards and forwards. There's about 1 mil of play in the rollers. So absolutely fantastic. You've had your money's worth out of that. The only downside to running a chain like that to that extent is that as the chain gets longer, the gap between that pin and that pin gets longer as well. So what it starts to do then is rolls off the back of the tooth, and you get what's called shark toothing, and you can see it there. So if you look at that one there, can you see that? Yeah, that one there. You can see it's shark toothed, shark toothed, shark toothed. So it's got a laid back slope, and that's where the chain's worn the back of the tooth away. So this chain ring is probably no good. So they've ordered another chain ring. Actually, they're not too bad for these. I was quite surprised. You know, I think they're about max 40 quid with postage. Now, if this was a Shimano, that would be 100 quid right there. I haven't really had a look at the little one, but I suspect, knowing the rider, they've spent most of the time on the big ring. I did have a quick check at it, and you can see the difference there. If you look at them, it's even, right? It's probably a little bit worn, but not enough you notice. Now, the only thing that worries me as well is if it's done the same thing to the back block. Where that manifests itself is when you put the power down, the chain will actually start to slip and jump on the back block. So there'll be a couple of gears that are the favourite gears that will have got worn in the same way, and it manifests itself when you put the power down. You get out the saddle, it'll actually click, it'll actually jump. It feels like it's jumping a gear. So we shall have to wait and see, because these are expensive for a Shimano or a SRAM. So you nowadays you're looking at 50, 60, 70 quid for one of them, and if it's an Ultra, nearly 100 quid now. It's ridiculous. I used to pay £40 for them, but anyway. Brake pads completely worn out. We're back to the backing plates. I'll pull them out later. The gear cable's absolutely knackered on the back. The gear cable's frayed on the front as well. It is snagging, so it's possibly frayed and gone inside the changer itself, like the Specialized I did a few weeks ago. It is actually sticking as well, so it really will not go up on the it gets stuck on the thing, and this one here won't move at all. There is actually some setting issues with this one as well. It's not indexed properly. It doesn't come up far enough, so the whole thing just needs completely new cables and re-indexing. It's not even worth me looking at it. I mean, it doesn't come across far enough. When you pull it there, it jams. So the slack wants taken out, and it wants the adjusters taken up. It's actually right where it is there, but it's the top adjuster, the one that stops it from going any further. And the chain was so, it was pointless me adjusting it, but the chain was so slack. I don't know if you can see it here, but you should not be able to do that with a chain. You should not be able to get that kind of bend on the chain. So the idea is the baler arm pulls the chain across, and the catch tooth catches the because one of these teeth are not the same all the way around. Some of them have got scallops on the other side. They're the catch teeth. The catch teeth will pick up the chain and start to feed it onto the teeth behind it. But the chain's so worn that way, it's actually just ducking around the baler arm. It's not, the catch tooth isn't even picking it up. So we'll have a quick look at that. Headset bearings, weirdly enough, are okay on this. And I did notice this morning, because it was clunking when I picked it up. I thought the headset bearings did need adjusting. After I'd checked, they didn't. It's not. It's actually this wheel. It's got a really loose front bearing. So I don't know if you can hear that, but it's clunking quite a bit. You can actually feel it when you take it off. So the first thing we'll do is we'll have a quick look at that. We'll get these cables replaced, because I've actually got some cables, but I'm just waiting for the tooth. I've got the chain, I've got the brake pads, and I've got some new tape for it as well. Oh, we're missing a bung. I'd not noticed that, but we're missing the tooth. So what I can do is I can start stripping all this lot down, take it off, and just leave it to soak in the parts washer and give it a good rest. Anyway, right, enough waffle. Just had a dog visit. He's been to Specsavers for his haircut. You haven't though, have you? No. So we got a Spanish water dog and a Hungarian Commodore. Thanks, Bear. That's great for the channel. So anybody who watches the repair shop, if you've seen Dominic Chen, I think he is Chen. He's got a Spanish water dog as well, exactly the same colour, called Wendy. And ours is called Ricky. So there you go. We're back again, Ricky. Right, anyway, right, let's crack on with this thing. So I think best thing we can do is just strip it all down and then see where we go with it. We'll get the cables off, we'll get the things off. So let's first things first, let's get these. In fact, no, first things first, let's get that bloody chain off. Anti-brake, it's a SRAM, so it should have a split ring, because I think they were they were the first ones to put them in as standard. Shimano came along later. Of course, it's a pain up the flipping arse, because it means you've got to have one of these tools. Well, you don't, but you're supposed to. Right. So we will keep hold of that in case Jenny wants that one back, when it goes in the spares buckets. And yeah, you should not be able to do that with a chain. That's yeah, that's pretty much impressive. Right, I'm going to get filthy, so let me put some gloves on. These are the naffest gloves ever. I need some of the posh ones like flipping Ed China's got. So when you're watching my channel, Ed, because I know you watch my channel for tips and things, just send us some of your gloves, mate. Many a time I've said, what would Ed China do? Right, anyway, we digress. Let's get these things off. Flipping dogs are off. There we go. Stick that back up again. Wing it out of there. Make sure we don't lose that. Is that going to come out? No. Like I said, I've not done many of these. Do you know what? The baler wheels don't look that. Sorry, baler wheels. Jockey wheels don't look that bad actually. No, they're fine. They're fine then. That's covered in oil, but we won't judge. Oh. I think the best thing I can do with this is just cut the bloody thing off. You didn't see me do that bit with that bit, because that's supposed to be for the actual core. Right, the only thing I've got to be careful of is this is internally routed, so I've got to work out how it does it. whether it uses a sheath. So with it being internal, there's two ways of doing this. It either it has a cup and then the cables are free lined on the inside, so there's nothing between there and there when it comes out, and the frame is actually part of the effectively the sheathing. Or on some of them they have a sheath on the inside, like that stuff, like that blue stuff, not the metal stuff. So that's actually some fishing wire I've got for actually fishing these. So when you get a frame like the orange one there, that doesn't have a an inner running through the cable. So when you drop your cable in, it literally just falls down into the frame, and then you've got to fish it out. So what you do is you actually feed some of that down first, fish it out, or what you do is cut the cable like I've done there, feed this over the top of it until it pops out at that end, and then you've got a length of cable from there to there that you can just feed your normal cable in. I've explained that really badly. But anyway, we'll try and work out. Right, so the way you can, one of the ways you can do it is if you get your cable like I'm doing here. Well, pay attention, watch. Get your cable like I'm doing here, and if you push it at both ends, you'll feel it bang against the inside of the frame. Now I can feel that's not moving, so there's got to be a sheath on the inside of that. So there you go. Top tip for today. But don't pull your cables out until you know what you've got, because otherwise it's an absolute faff to get them back in again. Well, that's a new beam. I've not seen anything like that before. Why never? Right. Let's have a look. Like I said, I've not done many of these actually, so I'll be interested to see how you do this. I have got to realign this one as well. One of them is off. Actually, no, they know what, they're not that bad. No, it is a bit loose. Yeah, we'll tighten them up. Jenny did say she'd come off, and I'm guessing it's that one because it's felt actually they're both pretty scuffed. Right, so one of the things I'm looking for, what I'm doing now, is I'm actually seeing where my knackered cable is. So I did say that there was some fraying, and I wasn't sure where it was, whether it was just in the end bit or whether it was in this bit. Now this is okay. That end bit I've cut off is pretty manky, but this is one of the ways you can tell where your problem is. So I'm now ratcheting it in as if I was changing gear and keeping the tension on with my hand, because you don't want the cable to get wound up in there, so you've got to keep the tension on. So I'm just, right, that's releasing, going up, going up, going up, going up, and then I'm going to let it go all the way back out again. That's it, we've hit bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, so that's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it, 10 speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's have a proper look at that now. Do you know what, Jerry? You might have got away with that one. Possibly your bottom ones are a bit knackered. They look like you might. Oh, the top one looks a bit sore too. You might have got away with that one. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Right, I'm still none the wiser how you get the cables out of these. So that's interesting. So it's got to pull it from somewhere. You normally have a little access hole. Oh, I found out where you bolt the bloody things on anyway. Let's get the. Let's just take that. Let's just bite the bullet. Take the whole rubber thing off. We need to get that off anyway, because it needs tightening up on there, because that's loose. So. Right, so we'll give that a tighten. Aha, spotted it. It's there. That's it. That's nice and easy. There it is. So that comes out there. So I'm guessing that was. That does feel a bit graunchy in there, but I think it's just the turnaround with them being tight. There's no access holes or anything to take off there, is there? So literally you just feed it through that hole and hope for the best. There you go. Right. So what we got here? It says brake cable. What does that say? Pre-lubed gear cable. Right. So another lesson for you. Right. So when you look at the end of that, you can see it's got fairly, it's a cylinder, it's a small cylinder, and it's fairly, you know, chamfered 90-degree side. So that's the same as that one. So you just want to check that they are the same diameter, because some of them on the other end, you might notice. Right, quick storage stop. Yeah, so what I was saying, one of them is fairly squared off, and the other one is more rounded off. Right, that's the Campagnolo end. The other one is the standard Shimano. Now, I've just realised I've got this out, and I don't need to get this out yet because we're not fitting anything new yet. So I will quickly stick this back in its protective box before I bugger it up. Right, so we're going to need possibly 2 of them, new ones. So we'll see where we go, but it's out now anyway. Right. Shove that old one in there. Leave that where it is. That's the front one, and that goes in there. Right, so we can get the derailleur off now. The derailleur. And then, I think there are 6 these, and they are on a Shimano. There are 5 on a SRAM. See, every day's a school day. Right. So there's only, oh, actually it's a bit cruddy there. So it looked okay on that side, where you could see that actually that's not spinning very well. That's spinning reasonably well. There's a little bit of play there, but I won't worry too much about that. It's the worst case scenario. We'll look at swapping that out, but I think we'll probably be all right. We'll see how it changes gear. If it doesn't, we'll get another set of them. But that's going in the parts washer. Come on out of the way, Bear. Oh, we've got a big dog. Go on. I'll show you the parts washer while we're here. Right, so there's only one place that's going. In the parts washer. Oops. No, you're not living in there. Right, so that's that off. That is spinning nice and smooth, actually, that, and there's no play, so we're not going to mess with that at all. Again, don't need to grease it. So again, it's one of those things, I've said it on the last video, I see bikes that come from a supposedly a service, and there'll be red grease all over there, tons of it hanging out. There's no need to there's nothing to grease in there. It's a sealed ball race. The only thing you need to do is just have a little bit of grease just to help it slide in, and that should smear around. If you can see it on the outside, you put too much on. All you're doing is just putting it on, just to the sake of saying to somebody, I've done some work on your bike, when it didn't actually need doing. What you'd be better off doing is actually checking that all the bearings are all right, which a lot of times they're not. Right, that was actually loose, so I'm just going to check that that's torqued up to where it should be. That wasn't good, that was very loose. There you go. 6. That should not have been that loose. That wasn't good. That's actually quite surprised that hasn't slid. Well, actually, looking at that, you know what? I think that has slid. There's definitely signs that that is lower than it should be. I'm going to leave it, but that could have slid, or it's just the reinforcing in the tube, because they do put extra reinforcing in these. Right, we'll just have a quick look at this so I can remember how it's set up. So it comes down, round and across. We're going to have to get all that lot off and get all that lot in the parts washer and cleaned out as well. And I'll take a picture of that too, just so I get the cable routing right. I've never seen that set up before. That's a new one on me. Right then, let's get this off. You can sit down there and watch this. And just have a check. Oh, do you know? Oh, there's a novelty. The springs are actually on right. Not too bad. A little bit of rust. So then the pile of parts. Right. We have you. And chain whip. And a very big breaker bar. We'll go with this one. Oh, no, we won't. That won't fit. Let's get the big one out. Can you see? This is for undoing Land Rover wheel nuts. There we go. I'll tell you one thing, that wasn't torqued up right either. So that should be about 40 Newton meters. What I normally find is that they've been over torqued, but that was definitely under torqued. That was not right. There's quite a bit of movement in that, so I'll put the state of it. Okay, right, well, we'll have a look at that, but it's actually there's quite a lot of them come undone. Right, so it was just play on the hub. We'll have to have a quick look at that, just make sure it's not worn. There's quite a bit of play then. You can see there's some marking on the back of the teeth. It's not worth replacing the freewheel outer for that though. Right, go for the parts washer. Drop them in there on the lid. They can go marinade for a bit. Right, so there was no play in the bearing on the back wheel. Going down here again. There was no play on the bearing in the back wheel. So now all I'm doing is just making sure that it doesn't feel like it's worn, because it could still be graunchy. There's a little bit in there, but it's not too bad. It's not worth opening it up for. So what I might do is just dribble a bit of oil down and see if that free. In fact, that's coming free already now. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And the freewheel's good. It just wants cleaning up. It's a bit filthy. So that's fine. I just need to clean up. Right. So the back's out. We'll leave the brakes. The brake cables look okay actually. There's good response on both of them. They'll just want setting back up because they are ball bearing, the BBs. They're not hydraulic. They are cabled. So you tend to find you have to adjust that adjuster and get them so they're balanced again as they wear down, because they don't naturally adjust like a hydraulic would. So you have to You have to keep balancing them and then realigning them and balancing them and realigning them. They're solid pieces of kit, but they're just a bit more faffy. Ugh. Put back away. I think I need to clear some crap out of that drawer. Put my sockets away. Put it back in there. Take the chain off. So front wheel, this one has got play, so this one does need to come out. Weirdly though, this one doesn't feel graunchy, but it has got a lot of play in it. So you don't know if you can hear that, but there's movement in there. So it just needs a bit of grease. We'll nip it up, clean it out, nip it up, and let's see how it goes. Doesn't feel graunchy though, so I think we saved that one. It's usually when they get loose, then more gets in, and it kind of grinds it to a paste, and it just it ruins. Video cut out again. Right, so that's okay. They're off. Wheels done. They're off. It just needs a good clean now. We'll get this one off next. So same thing again. This time I'll cut it with the proper one. That's down as far as it's going to go. So we don't get them mixed up. In fact, before we forget, let's torque them up. Oh God, that was loose. That more harder to get off than the other one. Must have had a sweatier hand on that one. Right. They're lined up the same. Yeah. Right, they're done a lot better now. Probably want to chuck a bit of grease in there as well at some point, because they do look a bit graunchy. That one definitely looks a bit dodgy. Looks a bit dodge. There. Come on. I'll leave that there so I know where to pull it into, because otherwise I'm going to be in there forever looking for them. Right, so that's them done. That's back in its, let's chuck that back in its hole. We don't lose it. So I think that's pretty much it. They feel fine. I don't think there's any reason why I need to muck about with them. Again, it's an FSA headset, so it's all sealed, don't need to touch that. The brake pads are as bold as anything, just like the other ones. I don't actually know how to get them out of these. It's interesting. Oh, there is a screw. It's hiding. behind there. We're all here. Let's. Soslaw says it'll be a 5. It's a 5. Oh, is that? I don't think it is. I think these might just come out. I can't see where there's a Italian for them. No, there isn't. I don't think they are. I think they just knock out. I'm going to take a leap of faith here. Interesting. Definitely some kind of retainer, and I'm wondering whether this clip is it, because you don't want to force anything. No, it's definitely something going on down there. Looking at the old brake pads, there's nothing to release. They look a bit on the bent side. Looking at this, they should just come out. There's nothing holding them in, but there is a tang that disappears up inside, so I'm not entirely sure where that goes. But there's nothing anywhere. Oh, these are actually quite good. They do adjust on both sides. Right, let's wind it that way. Let's wind it all the way back. I've absolutely no idea. Do you know what? I'm going to have to Google it. I can honestly say I've never ever taken these. I've never had a set of SRAM-BB's mechanical disc brakes in before. It'll be something really simple. It'll be this clip has to come out to free it up, and I'm just missing something obvious about what I have to free up to get it to release. Because there's definitely two bits at the bottom, but they won't come past it actually. Hold on a second. All the way. There's nothing on the new pads that suggests how they come off. Right, well, I think we call it there now because I can't do anything else. We'll start reassembling it until we... I can take that off. Stick that in the parts washer. I'm going to leave that on. What I'll do is I'll just put a bit of spray cleaner on that to clean that off. We'll leave it to soak. Still got a bit left in here. So that's just parts washer solution. So we'll just soak that up. Same with the crank. But that's coming off anyway, so I have no idea why I'm doing that. Just give the frame a good liberal going over with it, and then we can typical run out. Right, we'll call it there, and then I'll go and do some research on how to strip them brakes to pieces, so you don't have to sit there for 5 minutes while I faff around talking bollocks about what I think's wrong with them and how to get them to pieces, when actually there's a really simple way of doing it. I just don't know how to do it. It'll be a real pisser if you have to undo them and take that off to get the bloody things out. That would be, you know what? That might very well be how it's done. We'll see. Yeah, it would make sense actually. That. Yeah, and then it would capsulate that missing piece in there. We'll find out, and I'm sure there'll be comments in the comments thing about this. Did you not know that, you muppet? That's how they do it. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, there'll probably be a part 2 of this now. And just because I'm impatient and I couldn't wait, I did decide to take it to pieces. And I think I was right. There's no way to get that out without destroying it, to get it past those tangs that it hooks round. So they fit into there. I suppose you could grab them and pull them out, but anyway, they did need pulling to pieces. I suspect they did. They're pretty shitty, so they're going to take a trip to the parts washer too. I'll get the front one off. That's so much better. So yeah, you probably could pull them out. I'll try doing it on the front one in a minute, but you didn't pull the metal clip out of the way. You just either pulled down on the brake pads, or you did like I did and split the thing in half. So we'll just have a quick go on the front ones now. Seems we may or may not have found out how to do it. Can you see there? You can see there though, aren't you? Sorry about my hat. My wife says my hat looks alright. There's a bit. Yeah, you can just pull them out. Yeah, they do just pull out. So there you go, simple as that. You just grab hold and pull them out. Wouldn't want to be doing that on a trail with cold hands. Yeah, they're not brilliant. So we certainly got his money's worth out of them as well. Just caught them in time. So I don't actually think I'm going to give these a soak. I think what I'll do is I'll just give them a quick blast out with some brake cleaner, scrub them off and put them back together, but we'll save that for the next video. So anyway, signing off from part 1 of this. Yeah, we don't often get this far to pieces, do we? So fair play there, Jerry. You've done a cracking job there. Let's, I think that one lives on that one. And that one lives on that one. Just take a cookie out of me. Supposed to be signing off, not shoving these on here. There you go. They'll do now. Can't get them mixed up. Right, we'll call it there. Hopefully the chainring turns up next week, or during the week, and then we can get all that lot stripped off and cleaned up as well. get it wanged around in there. I'm tempted to just to pull the chainring and chuck that in there as well, the whole crank arm, but not tonight. Nice pile of bits. Cart needs tidying out. I'll just shut the lid on this and pretend like nothing's in there, nothing to see. Anyway, right, catch you later. Keep your eye out for part 2 of this one. What am I like? Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you've got anything with motors in, things like that, we do like a good motor as well. In fact, you know what? I prefer a good motor. But do you know what? The workshop's full of bikes at the moment. So there's that one, that one. I did one yesterday that I uploaded the video for. Mine is absolutely desperate for a full strip down. The chain's just on the limit now, and it hasn't been done for about 2 years. So I need to have a look at the forks and that. So anyway, right, gone. Definitely this time. Bye.